Let's go ahead and begin since we are recording and we will be putting this up on YouTube for posterity as it is, or for those people where it's 3 a.m. right now and they want to join us, but it's a little bit out of their time. Okay, well, Chris, why don't you start? And
Okay.
maybe about 12 minutes for you, and then we'll do some questions for you, and then we'll turn it over to me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So can you see that my screen?
Man.
Yeah. Okay. You can. Okay. Great. Great. So I run an organization called the Underground. Like, why am I talking here about Hong Kong? Well, because since 2004, I've organized over 260 events here and given mostly Hong Kong bands a chance to play on different venues, at different festivals, my own, other people's events, other people's festivals. And I've helped a sprinkling of international bands do their shows here. So yeah, so basically I do have some experience and know what I'm talking about. Okay, oops, there. Okay, so an overview on Hong Kong. There's 7 million people here, right? And 97% of them are Chinese. So it's, yeah, and the other 3% includes all your expats, your domestic helpers, and other nationalities. And so bear that in mind. Although it's a very small city, we have a lot of people. A city, place, special administrative region, whatever. So when it comes to live music venues here, and I'm talking about non-government places like, not your concert halls, but they're, the small venues taking about 30 to 150 people. There's actually around 25 venues here, and most of them have their own backline. It's different to like in the West where you're supposed to bring your own backline. Here, it's people don't usually bring their own backline until we come into the mid-sized range or the large size range. Then of course you provide your own backline for it because you're a big band. And in Hong Kong, I would say Hong Kong people become very loyal fans if your band does make the effort to keep coming back. This is probably true any place, honestly. You're a great band, you do a good show, and people talk about you, and when you come back, they bring their friends. That's the way it is, right? So the fact that Hong Kong is so small means that people are generally less likely to want to travel far. It's a really strange mentality. Like if you live an hour away from work, people are like, oh, that's so far away. So if they think that about work, which is giving them money, what do they think about your show? So these 25 venues, they're actually all over Hong Kong. So you could technically do a little mini tour in Hong Kong and go to different places and appeal to those audiences who don't have to travel far. This is doable for sure. So a lot of people ask if Hong Kong is still a stepping stone to mainland China. Yes, it still is. It's gotten a lot stricter here in the last few years, even before the pandemic. Even if your band's coming here and it's playing a free event, you actually do need to get a performance visa. Yeah, it's actually illegal to perform even for no pay on a visitor's visa. I think it says very clearly on the visa, you're not allowed to perform. So, that's a bit of a pain for some people, I guess. But they're generally quite easy to get. So it's just more paperwork, right? And more work. And it's good experience because if you want to go to China, mainland China, it's a lot more paperwork and a lot more to deal with, right? So you start getting an idea. A lot of people here speak English. They speak Cantonese here, by the way, in Hong Kong, whereas they speak Putonghua Mandarin in China. So if you do come here, make sure you get the right, and you want to speak a bit of the local language, make sure you get the right language, Cantonese. But it's okay if you don't, as long as you acknowledge Hong Kong, say hello, Hong Kong. That's good enough, honestly. Yeah, we're very proud of being Hong Kong. So yeah, so as a band, how do you get attention in Hong Kong? Like if you're thinking of coming here, First, I would do research on the promoter or the venue before contacting them. That is number one, right? I remember getting an email from a band once going, "Hi, I'd like to play your reggae festival." I was like, wow, didn't even know I was doing one, right? So, and you know what? I just deleted their email because I thought, wow, you haven't even, if you just looked at our website, you would know, right? So take an hour of your time, check out the promoter or the venue, right? And then once you think, these venues look good, or this promoter looks like someone I want to work with, then, very basic. This would work for any band in any country, honestly. One sentence describing your music, right? And that, I mean, like, we pay post-punk original interpretations of, just describing your music, and then a paragraph about your band, something meaningful, like, we're five girls and we're a five bass band or something, just something that would make me go, okay. And then provide a link to a recent live performance, and recent can be in the last 12 months. Yeah. And provide a link to a recorded song, right? Recorded music you tend to think, oh, well, the band's invested into doing some recording. This band takes itself seriously. And then include social media links, just to show how popular you are. But and always never say, search for my band on YouTube, search for my band on, because as soon as we see the word search, it's like, oh, you want me to search for your band, okay? And then at the end, it's good to do a summary sentence on why you want to come to Hong Kong, why you want to play in this venue, or why you want to work with this promoter. Show you've done your homework, right? And in Hong Kong, I put this big Instagram logo on my slide. Instagram is, like the key. It's what many people use to put about their music, to interact, to talk, to make conversations, to connect, like the messenger and everything. Many bands only have Instagram and don't even have Facebooks, right? So, and they're showing reels and stories, yeah. We don't have TikTok in Hong Kong, so don't bother sending us TikTok links, because we just get a thing saying TikTok is banned in Hong Kong. So, and then genres, it's hard to say. Honestly, it's everything works here. Everything from your lo-fi bedroom pop, all the way to your thrash hardcore death metal. Yeah, what you need is a promoter or a venue that has worked familiarity with your type of genre, and you've given them lots of good promo material, right? So yeah, really, we've all sorts of bands work here. People, honestly, post-COVID, people are interested in going to see different stuff, and your stuff has to be appealing in some way. So it's about promoting. You have to promote your band, yeah, or your music, and both, honestly. So yeah, so really that's kind of like a summary on Hong Kong. Yeah, that's me. I run the underground. I'm Chris B. You can find me through the YouTubes or the Instagram, Facebook, website, undergroundhk.com. Yeah, so that's kind of it as a general overview. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop my share. And yeah, I mean,
Oh,
are there any
fabulous.
questions?
You mentioned the genres that pretty much everything would work there. However, are there any genres you've seen that just don't work there?
No,
Oh, okay.
honestly,
Okay. So
no.
there's a
Like
little
I'm
niche
like
audience for anything. That's great.
there is, and they turn up, and yeah, as I said, people do enjoy it. So yeah, I can't think of anything. If it's done well, even if it's thrash metal or bedroom pop, as long as it's done well and the singer is in key, I think people are open to it and want to be entertained and want to see new stuff too. Yeah.
And what about notification? Do you find the audience like, are they very spur of the moment, like, hey, there's a thing happening tonight or tomorrow, let's go? Or is the crowd more, I needed to know this 4 weeks ago because I've already made my plans?
Yeah, I think you're right. They want to know more about it. That earlier, like if you can let them know, hey, we're coming, say it's March now, end of March, right? hey, our band is coming in May and we're gonna, yeah, June, July, like in the next 3 months, yeah, it's best to give them some sort of advance notice. Very few people operate on, hey, this is coming up this weekend. They'll only come if their original plans are cancelled. Generally,
Okay.
that's really it. So yeah.
What
Oh,
about for the bands that want to come over? Let's say they're contacting you to help them book some shows. Uh, they can do that 4 weeks early, 2 months early, 6 months ahead, 8 months ahead. What's your preferred timeline? What do you find the venues calendars are doing? How far in advance are they?
I yeah, I think 2 months is the least minimal time. Yeah, and then it depends how big the band is, right? And how yeah, but 2 months minimal because first we have to find a venue, and yeah, which is hard post-COVID actually
Mhm.
because everyone's fighting to put their shows on.
I see. So Andrew
Yeah.
has asked, how's the media support for these days for touring? I guess like what kind of media would be good for promoting music? And is there any radio, TV, publication support?
I think there's minimal. There's minimal media support here. Everyone's, I mean, like through the underground, we promote events and our own events, and it's interesting to see sometimes they pick it up and sometimes they don't for various reasons. I think the promo material has to be quite compelling. Yeah, the media doesn't really care if you're if there's nothing compelling about you.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
There's a lot of stuff happening, right? So yeah,
Do venues operate just weekends, 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, every night?
that's a really good question. Out of those 25 venues I was talking about, I think only about 5 of them would regularly have music every night. Like
Mm,
2 of them definitely every night. 5 of them can do every night. The rest of them generally on the weekends, Friday or Saturday shows or Sunday.
mhm.
Yeah, it's but a lot of them will make allowance for, say, a band's coming on tour. It's like, okay, why not do a Tuesday night show? It's if it's well promoted, okay. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So how did you get into the music scene there? You were in a band or you just loved music or how did it come about?
Yeah, I'm a musician, singer. So I've been in bands for years, since the 90s, and it turns out I'm the one who likes to promote in a band. I will generally promote. So I learned more and more about promoting and put on shows and then promote other people. And it's figuring out how you can appeal to people, right? That's the fun bit. And it reflects back on one's own music, right?
Mhm.
If I'm going to write a song, what connects to the audience? What subjects could I write about? And you don't have to connect to everyone. It's much better to have a fan base that is loyal to you. It may be small, it can grow, right? That's like anything. Yeah. So yes, I come from Hong Kong. I'm half Chinese, half English. Been here all my life. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. I think that's an important factor. A lot of bands, they just want a lot of people in front of them, which is always very exciting. But
Mm.
having a smaller but very loyal audience can be better. There's always that you just need 1,000 true fans to make a living doing music because they're going to go see the shows, they're going to buy the merchandise, they're going to buy the fan club memberships or the Patreon. Ah, there's one. Hong Kong bands, do they have fan clubs that people pay a monthly fee to be a member of, like a Patreon
Yes.
or an actual fan club?
Yeah, there's actually a number of Hong Kong bands with Patreon. That's a good question. And generally, they're very. I would say a lot of Hong Kong bands are really good at generating the extra content that Patreon requires. Like special song clips, lyrics, merch, like that to make you feel, oh gosh, I'm really supporting this band. I'm really making a difference to them. Patreon is very popular here. Yeah. So I know a number of bands that do, and some of them are rather successful. A couple of Hong Kong bands. I mean, one right now is in the UK doing a tour, because a lot of Hong Kong people have emigrated to the UK. And I
Mm.
know in January, another band, Tonic, they went to the UK and did a tour, you know. So their fan base, they have Patreon. So, you know, you can grow your fan base and grow and go to them, right? I
Mm.
think it takes dedication and putting the time in to do those little special things for your fans. Yeah.
Do you see many Hong Kong bands going to Vancouver for touring?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
No, not at the
A
moment.
little
Yeah,
further. I
the
was just because
UK.
you mentioned a lot moved to the UK. I know many years
Yeah.
ago there was a big exodus to Vancouver also. So when I lived in Washington State, Vancouver started going, well, the city didn't, but people started calling it Hongcouver because so many people from Hong Kong had moved there. So there's a vibrant scene there. Also, we're not talking about it specifically today, but there's a very diverse scene of bands from Hong Kong, First Peoples bands, etc., and touring.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you, thank you. Those were all good questions, April.
All right. Well, I guess make me a host and I'll share my slide.
Oh yes. Oh yes, yes, I can do that. Wait. Sorry everyone, I'm not as technical as okay, we're getting there.
Not either. Only when I need to be. Where's I was sure I was going to be able to be hiring assistants. Yeah. So the three dots in the upper right, click
Yeah,
those.
okay. Aha, found it. Okay. There you go. Yeah. I found out how to do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, so I'll go ahead and share my uh, quick presentation here. Okay,
Excellent.
let me set my timer so I don't go over time. Okay, here we are, Japan's music market. Again, this is an overview. I think truly for any music market, whether it's small or large, Hong Kong, Japan, Canada, Taiwan, we could talk about it for hours. But to just give an overview for people, okay, we're going to talk about placement in the global music market, some basic stats, how people discover music, how to promote it, live houses, and why come to Japan. Okay, so I think most people know that Japan is the world's second largest music market, right behind the US, right before UK. However, that does give a false impression because people often assume, oh, they must be very hungry for foreign bands then. What's Japan doing? Actually, 81% of the music consumed here is by domestic artists, only 19% by foreign artists. So it doesn't mean you can't push in as a foreign artist, but it does mean it's hard work. It's hard work even for the local bands because there's so many of them. But it does mean there's no instant niche like, oh my God, you're not from Japan, we'll go see you. When it comes to purchasing music, 72% of the market is still physical. CDs have remained kind of the same, but vinyl is growing. There is also a market for cassette with certain indie rock bands or older style music bands. So physical has always remained a great way to release music. And as with most, the more popular genres are within the rock fields, pop, and things you can dance to, whether it be hip hop, R&B, funk, neo soul. So the rest of it would be more like jazz, classical, things like that. But if you're somewhere within this 81%, it's much easier to find an artist, an audience. But if you're not, there's an audience out there for you. All the genres exist here. You can find anything you want. You want someone who plays American style country? Yeah, you can find it. Bluegrass? Yes, you can find it. So again, there's no real hole in the market like, oh, I'm going to be the only artist doing this genre. Possibly Probably there are people already doing that genre here, but that shouldn't dissuade you. It just means somebody's already listening to it. So if you can find that audience, it's good for you. All right, how do people discover music? Far and away, number one is YouTube. 71% of the population is regularly watching long form videos. 33% is regularly watching short form. Be that, we do have TikTok here, but also we have some other local Japanese video sites, as well as, of course, now YouTube has shorts. So this is the best place to make sure your music is, whether it's full music videos, live music videos, lyric videos, the short visualizer videos. This is where people are going to discover you. Now, a distant second is free streaming services. So Spotify, Radico, Line Music, FM Music, KKBox, things like that. But it is a distant second. So YouTube is your main focus, but that doesn't mean pull yourself from streaming. Go ahead and put it there. And last is physical listening and sharing. We have a lot of music stores because people are buying CDs and vinyl and cassettes, and they have CD listening stations. Some have started vinyl listening stations. People go in and they see the displays and they listen to the music, or their friend is saying, hey, I'm going to loan you this CD. Why don't you take a listen? So these are your main ways that people discover new music. Radio is barely a blip here because we don't really have a driving culture. So that morning drive, afternoon drive doesn't exist here. Also, companies don't play radio in the background at work, so you're not going to hear it in the office break room. Radio's fine if you're already well known. Just to reiterate things that people already know. All right, so to promote yourself, number one is touring. It is actually good. Come meet people, meet other bands, meet the venues, meet the audience that came to see the other bands, build that connection and word of mouth, build a social buzz from the people that accidentally saw you when they came to see their friend's band. Your own social media is going to be number two. You need to target and localize consistent social media posts into Japan if you care about the Japanese market. As far as what you post in, it's better if you post in Japanese. It doesn't mean it always has to be 100% Japanese, but if you could do 50-50, like the first 50% of the post is in Japanese, the next part is in simple English, or as you go along, at least maybe a starter sentence in Japanese. Japanese people can speak English. They have 6 years of English through junior high and high school, but that doesn't mean that they really want to speak English or that they're comfortable speaking or reading English. Plus, since 98.2% of the population is Japanese, when stuff is scrolling in social media in English, it doesn't strike them as, oh, is this for me? So you started off in Japanese, so they realize, oh, they're talking to me. They're talking to me. Okay, social media partners. Once you tour, build social media, collab with the bands you meet here, do cross-population of social media. You can get micro-influencers to promote your music, small brands, building some collaborations. And also the ticket sellers, the big ticket sellers like E Plus and PIA, they have wonderful websites. So they actually have, all the listings for band. You can type in rock concerts in April, anything that's a rock concert in April will come up, whether it's big or small. Doesn't really matter. It's on their site. It's going to show it. And traditional media, I'm going to say it's not good for unknown bands here because they receive so many press releases from overseas bands going, yay, we're going to come to Japan. And so many of those bands never come back. So they're kind of in the habit of, if this is the third time the band is coming, maybe we'll think about publishing a press release or tour release for the band. Also, it really does seem that promotion is good to remind people of things they already know about. not necessarily to introduce people. Introducing is better word of mouth from friend, meeting and greeting, handshaking and all. All right, and the live house scene. So Japan has over 2,000 registered live music venues in the country. These range from micro venues with a capacity of 15 people to the arenas of 50,000. The most common is the Daily Live House, which holds between 80 and 200 people approximately. Tokyo has over 350 of those. So you're also thinking, Osaka, Kyoto has another 120, Nagoya has 50, Okinawa has, however many, Sapporo. So every city has some music venue. I mean, even a city of about 250,000 is going to have at least 10 music venues that are registered. More, I'm talking about daily live houses, these smaller ones. There are premium, what they call premium live house. It's a little bit different as far as who plays there or what. But the joy of the daily live house, first of all, the venues curate the events themselves, so you don't have to make events. You can rent a venue and make an event if you want, but the venue pretty much does it. 90% of the month is venue run. They book 4 to 9 bands a night, 7 nights a week. So you want to play on a Tuesday, they've got Tuesday. You want to play on a Sunday, they've got Sunday. You're worried about coming here going, but nobody knows me, I'll be alone. No, there'll be at least 3 other bands in the venue with you. So you have opportunity to meet and greet and enjoy and experience the scene. They are plug and play. They all have their own complete backlines, including drum kit, cymbals, PA, lighting, sound tech, lighting tech, etc. So actually when you go in and set up for your sound check, they hand you some papers. You fill in your set list. What kind of lighting do you want? Do you want smoke? Do you want lasers? Do you want red? Do you want orange? What do you want? You fill it in and you hand it to them. And that's even in a small house with 20 people, they'll do it. Ticketing, of course, all the venues or almost all the venues have an arrangement with E+, PIA, or PTIX. So they do sell tickets through those venues. There is also Zyco. Some venues do it in-house, but a lot of customers still prefer to pay at the door. So it's not make or break if you're not doing e-sales. But again, the venue does that. They collect the money and then they pay out. I will say some bands, they prefer to do their tickets themselves, even if they are with 4 other bands, because they do hand-cut, hand-printed tickets or collector item tickets, in shapes and things like that that are cool for the fans. And how are people paid? It's rare to get a guarantee payment. Artists are paid by their own audience draw and very precisely. So when you walk into a live house, the door person says, "What band are you here to see?" And they make a tally mark by the band you name. And then at the end of the night, the manager comes up and says, "Okay, 20 people came to see you. Here's your 20. Your share of 20. Oh, 5 people came to see you. Well, here's your share of the 5. So it's not community share. It's not a guarantee, but it is truly what you pull in is what you get paid on. And why include Japan in your plans? Well, if you're already in Asia, it's a close market to increase. So if you're based in Hong Kong or Thailand or Malaysia, might as well, expand your territory. And if you're not in Asia, it's certainly an interesting market. It's very loyal if they like you. I mean, there's some bands that kind of retire here from overseas. They're not doing big shows in other countries, but they can still pull in a good audience here. Plus, if you take Japan plus 1 or 2 other Asian markets, I mean, it's a big potential. While Japan is number 2, if you took Japan and Hong Kong and say, went to Bangkok or Taipei, I mean, that's a hefty market share of the world right there. All right, so any questions on Japan? Any questions on Japan within that briefness there?
Well, I was able, thank you. It was a fabulous presentation. I'm so gobsmacked by the bit where you said each band fills in a sheet with like their song name and technical requirements. That is must be such a Japanese thing. It's lovely. And you know what? Makes for a great show, whichever band is on. I'm like, wow, I like that and very much. And
It
everything you
is
said,
really nice. It is
yeah.
nice. They come in, and of course, they are sound checks for each band. They like to be punctual. If somebody's on tour, if I booked the band in, and if the band is supposed to be there at 3 o'clock, the venue is calling me. Where's the band? They're not here. It's like, "Oh, I'm sure they're in the stairway." So yeah, you go in, you have your sound check, precise, it's taken care of. You filled in, oh, this is up tempo, this is ballad. Here I'm going to talk for a little bit, and you tell them everything that's going to happen, and they take care of you.
And I guess then the result is when you do play your set, you are playing a really good set.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to the band. It's not, we can't do the venue wasn't familiar with our music.
Right. And so even if they aren't particularly familiar with it, the sound techs at the venues, these are all live houses only hire sound techs that went to a sound technical training program. So they have a certificate. Now, I'm not saying that that means that they're going to be on a big festival tour, but they had some training and they've been
Mm.
working at that venue for a while. That is their job. So they're familiar with the space and they're familiar with the equipment. And so if and they're again operating 7 nights a week, they know what a rock band should sound like. They know what a pop band sounds like. So as long as you've noted in there, oh, we want a little extra reverb on the vocal here, then they're going to do that.
Yeah, I
Is
think you got.
Facebook popular in Japan? So. Facebook is known as the LinkedIn of Japan. So Facebook is very popular for venues. It's very popular for professionals, corporate. I mean, a lot of my connections within the music industry in Japan are I'm connected through Facebook. They don't use LinkedIn. As far as gig promotion, it is good because, of course, Facebook is connected to Instagram, and Instagram is very popular. So, you might as well toss in both of them. A lot of people have a Facebook account that they only use for groups that they've made, like student groups or hobby groups, things like that. And then they use Instagram for their actual day-to-day. Also, line messaging is very popular here, so you can use it like a Facebook. There's also Line Music, there's Line Live, so you can promote there. But if you don't want to mess with Line, then I would say doing a promo that's like Instagram, Facebook integrated is well worth it.
Okay. April, like say I'm in a rock band and I want to come to Japan to play. How much notice do I give you? And how long should I stay? And
Well,
do I need a visa?
okay. So the notice to give would be a minimum of 5 months, preferably 6 or 7, because most venues will fill their schedule 4 to 7 months in advance.
Wow.
Some venues, specifically in jazz, will fill their calendar a year in advance. So just contacting 6 weeks early, hey, can I do some shows I mean, maybe one can be found, but it's hard going. So as far in advance as you can. As far
Okay.
as how long should you stay here, if it's really dependent, but I think, a lot of people for their first tour especially come for about 10 days, not
Mhm.
counting one day on each side for travel. And they'll usually do 4 or 5 shows in the Tokyo metro area because it's huge, 35 million people, 25 different neighborhoods. So yeah, you could just tour in the city. And then they'll do another 4 shows in Kansai, which is Osaka, Kyoto, and Kobe. Maybe stop in Nagoya in the middle. So that's another 20 million potential people for a first tour. Do some people just come and do 1 or 2 shows? Sure. It's maybe not as fruitful as doing more, because each neighborhood, each venue has a little bit different people coming. I will say the venues don't have their own audience. Live houses are just houses for live music. Nobody goes there because, oh, we like ABC Live House. People go there because, oh, there's a band I want to see there. So people
That's
follow the
very interesting.
bands, not the live house. And they are okay to travel between 30 minutes, an hour, but it is best to play different areas because there is still that, you know, a mainstream rock loves Shibuya, noise or avant-garde loves Koenji. So it is good to play a multitude of different areas, meet different people. Often the venue managers run a small label, or the sound person also does sound for a big festival. So by playing the different venues, you meet a variety of different people and make some different contacts.
That's fantastic. Thank you, April. I think we're coming to the end of our session, and I think we both shared a lot of information. So it's gonna go up on YouTube, yeah?
Yes.
And then we will meet again next month to talk more.
All right. Well, that will be great. So yeah, we'll edit this for the people that missed it. It will be on YouTube. For those that were here, it is here. And I guess in the last moment, you asked, do people need a visa? If there's no commercial gain, you can come as a tourist. So that can usually work for a band's first tour. I don't want to say it's going to work for the second tour or the third tour or the 18th tour, but the very first time, nobody knows you. There's very little likelihood that you're going to make money, and you're really coming here to introduce yourself. So I think with the first one, don't worry so much. However, next tour,
Thank you.
it's a case by case.
Yeah, that makes total sense, actually. Yeah. So thank you. And thank you to
All
everyone
right.
who participated. Thank you so much for your
Wonderful.
time.
All right.
Yeah.
And thanks so much for the questions that we got by email.